I had a moment of stupidity. I was out driving in some really heavy rain and I reversed my car into a concrete pole. At first, I thought the damage was only as far as the plastic bumper cover, but when I took the plastic bumper cover off to inspect it, and by the way, I've got a separate video on how to do that and I've linked it in the description below, I found that the bumper reinforcement bar had been crushed in on the left side and it kind of pushed the back panel in a little bit. And so when I took the trunk lining out, to look at everything from the other side, I noticed some cracks in the seam sealer, and I can also see the trunk floor panel that's buckled in a little bit right next to where the seam sealer is cracked. Now, ideally, if you were to take this to a professional body shop, what they'd do is they'd put it onto a chassis alignment device, and what that does is it anchors the entire chassis down and holds it in place while you attach chains to the damaged area, and the chains will kind of get ratcheted tight, and that's going to pull the damage back out while at the same time beating on the damaged panels from the inside. Now, the degree of damage here isn't so serious that it needs a frame alignment device, even though that would be ideal. I'm going to be taking more of a DIY hack approach to this with just limited tools. So I've got this ratcheting chain. I'm going to hook it on directly to the bumper reinforcement bar, and I'm not worried about further damage to the bumper reinforcement bar because I'm going to be replacing it anyway. I'm going to hook the other end of the ratcheting chain to my family minivan's tow hook. And with a car as light as the Miata, it's really hard to just ratchet the damage out without anchoring it at the other end, because what'll happen is the entire car is just going to slide along the ground. So instead of just gradually ratcheting and pulling the damage out while beating on the inside, I'm actually just going to use a bit of impact in the other direction. Now let me show you something really cool. Check this out. This is the official Mazda issued workshop manual for the NC Miata. It's the same manual that's used in dealerships and professional workshops, and I have this in PDF format on Google Drive, so I can access this from anywhere I like, even from my smartphone. And if I want a hard copy version, I can just print out the pages I need and have it with me when I'm working on my car, and I don't have to worry about getting it greasy or dirty. It's extremely valuable information that just gets missed out in something like a YouTube video, such as the torque specifications for important nuts and bolts, or what the factory specified gaps are between something like the front bumper and the hood, and how you should go about making fine adjustments to get those gaps within factory spec. Those are the little details that are going to make the difference between, say, a botched up looking DIY repair and a repair that's been done to a professional standard. This particular manual I have for the NC was kindly provided by eManuals Online, and I've put a link in the description directly to the NC manual that I just showed you. And I've also got a juicy 22% discount code for you. In the checkout, use the coupon code TACONRED22, and that'll get you 22% off your whole order. Because see, eManuals Online have manuals not just for cars, but for all sorts of different things. Agricultural equipment, construction equipment, motorcycles, all sorts of stuff. So if you happen to need manuals for any of that stuff, you'll get 22% off all of that too. Now the coupon code is only valid till 31st July 2024, so make sure you use it before then. Once again, use the link in the description below, and then in the checkout, use coupon code TACONRED22, all capital letters, no spaces, and you'll get 22% off your whole order. So I'm trying to take this in stages. I'm doing repeated short pulls, and in between I'm inspecting the damaged area and using a hammer to kind of tap out and tap down where the buckling is, and also use a hammer to kind of coax the crushed in panels back out to where I want them to be. I'm being really gentle with the hammer because I'm not trying to bang the panels into place. Instead, the idea is that the pulling is going to put the metal in tension in certain areas, and there's going to be like locked up tension, and you want to release that locked up tension using vibrations from the hammer and help the metal move along back into the position that it was originally. And I just kept repeating that process over and over until I was happy with where the metal was. After that, I used my hammer to tap the trunk floor panel edges where it meets the back panel to close up the gap a little bit, and then I'm just using some silicone caulking to seal up that gap again and seal up where those cracks were. And then I used my hammer to do a little bit more fine tweaking of where the new bumper reinforcement bar was going to connect to. And since I had the rear bumper reinforcement off, I wanted to take care of some of this rust, which is really common on NCs, because typically these cars get painted after the rear bumper reinforcement is installed. I went to work with a wire brush, got as much of the rust off as I could, treated it with some rust converter, and then sprayed it all with a coat of black paint. I wasn't too worried about matching the body color because once everything gets put back together, you're not going to be able to see any of this. And then I just left the paint to dry overnight and then assembled everything back together the next day. And thank you so much for watching. Bye.